As 2021 nears the end, I thought I would invite Lorraine Miano, the author of The Magic of Menopause, a holistic guide to get your happy back, onto the show. We're going to discuss 2021. What were some of our wins? And how we can make 2022 the best year yet. So if you need to get some more happiness into your life, make sure you stay tuned. Lorraine is a certified health and hormone coach, as well as a post-menopausal woman herself. Lorraine discovered her passion for offering menopause advocacy, support, and resources to women of all phases of menopause. She loves to encourage her clients with her mantra, menopause is not an ending, it is a new beginning. So stay tuned. You're listening to Menopause Natural Solutions, episode 112, The Magic of Menopause. Welcome to Menopause Natural Solutions, your podcast for all things perimenopause, menopause and beyond. Stay tuned as your host, Naturopath Jennifer Harrington, explains how to use natural therapies to find your ultimate health and happiness during your transition. So ladies, let me introduce Lorraine. Lorraine, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I know it's been a haul trying to get us together. a few life events have come to play, and I'm so happy to be here finally.
Yes, so just for the listeners, we've been rescheduling this catch up since July, I think
so.
But that has been 2021. It's been a year of curveballs. But, it's the end of the year now. We've made it. We've survived. Yay. And we've finally got to meet up. So Lorraine is the author of The Magic of Menopause, a holistic guide to get your happy back. And I think this is very timely because there are some of us that maybe haven't had the happiest year, and that could do with getting some happy back. But it really is a great little gem of a book that is not just filled with information. It's not do this, do this, do this. There's also a lot of exercises and activities scattered throughout the book to get you think about your own personal experience. And there is a common theme of gratitude throughout the book. So I just thought I'd ask, what does gratitude mean to you?
Gratitude, each day I start the day with gratitude. I will wake up, lay in bed, thank the Lord for my life and everything in it. I'm 63 years old, and the grandma to 6 cute little beans.
Oh, congratulations.
I love. So gratitude to me is being able to wake up each day in good health, having my family, and being able to be there for my family, enjoy the kids. And everything that I do really in my life focuses and revolves around that.
Yeah, I think it's so important that with my comprehensive patients, with the patients that see me every month, we're really getting some major health goals kicked. I actually sent them all a gratitude journal for Christmas. Mm-hmm. So hopefully they were doing it before, but if they're not, they've now got their little journal in which they can write down 3 things each day. And
yes.
I don't really mind what time of day they do it. Some people love to do that as first hour of the day, I'm up. Let's think about what I'm grateful for in my life.
Yeah.
And other women like to do it at the end of the day. Their end of the day, yes. What has happened today? Has it been gorgeous weather? Have I eaten an amazing meal? Have I had some wonderful company? Gratitude doesn't need to be about the big things. It can also be about the little things.
And
what I love
things
about doing it every day is that you don't have big things every day. So
right. Be grateful for each and every little thing. And I would say do it in the morning and in the evening and in the middle of the day. But especially in the evening for women during menopause, we tend to have those thoughts swirling in our heads before we go to sleep. And it is the perfect time to write down what we are grateful for. And also, you can do brain dump at the same time. You can write down what you're grateful for, as well as those things that you have to take care of, and just get them out of your head so you can go to sleep peacefully.
And what I find is that you cannot be in a place of gratitude and a place of anxiety or a place of depression. They're two very, very different places in your brain, and you can't be in both places at once. So by self-directing your brain to the gratitude pathway, it would make it easier to go to sleep if you go,
Yes.
if that's the place that you're at the time. So considering we are at the end of the year, how do you have any rituals, or what do you do at the end of the year? Do you look back over the year, or do you look forward to the next year? What do you do?
I have severe FOMO, fear of missing out. So I am constantly planning. I love looking forward to the next year, but I do contemplate on the things that have happened, things. And this past year has been great, actually, considering where the world is right now. I've been able to travel. I went to see my grandchildren. I was able to travel to do a health summit that I spoke at. I went on a retreat. So I feel very blessed. I took precautions. I was very careful, but I was able to do all those things this year. So I'm very grateful for that, and to visit with wonderful friends. But I also love looking forward to next year and all the plans that we have, and more travel. Travel is my life. I love to do that, especially to see people that I love, my family, my friends. And so I'm looking forward to doing that. I love that in the past year, I've been able to connect with so many people like you, now that we've been kind of homebound somewhat. So meeting podcasters who are especially interested in women's health and menopause has been a blessing this year. I've spoken to so many people, so fortunate to do that and spread the word, the magic of menopause.
So we bypass that. The magic of menopause. This is your passion. This is your business. This is your life. How did you get started?
I became a health coach at age 55. After working for my husband for many years. We've been married, it'll be 41 years this month.
Wow, congratulations.
Thanks. So after having done that, raised my kids, everyone was out of the house, I decided I really wanted to put my focus on something I've always been interested in. So I was introduced to the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, which is the largest nutrition school in the world. And I found my passion. I always share that I thought I was going to help the world. However, the people that came to see me were women who were perimenopausal, although many of them did not know that at the time. They didn't know all the symptoms they were experiencing were related to the transition to menopause. So at that point, I realized I needed to really focus on that demographic. And it's been my passion ever since. And soon after, I wrote my first book. I'm currently writing my second. I have been trying to study to be an aromatherapist, and that's kind of on the back burner right now, just because so many other things have popped up, but that interests me to no end. I know that could be very beneficial for women too during these years. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely can be. And it
So
smells
how was
nice.
I actually wanted to ask you how your year was, because I know you shared something with me and I thought it was so profound, so wonderful, that you and your daughter got to spend a lot of time together.
Yeah, so I'm in Australia, and I have spent more of this year in lockdown than not. So having a teenage daughter in the house, it could have gone either way. I know families that have been through absolute hell, and our case, that didn't happen for us. We actually ended this year with a stronger, happier, healthy bond than ever before, but we were very conscious. We sat down and we had discussions about what brings us joy and how we can still have joy even though we don't have freedom. And we were allowed out of the house for an hour a day. And we have a beautiful park, which has actually been listed in the top 10 parks of the world in our
Nice.
neighborhood. So
Beautiful.
every day when weather permitted, we would go and have a beautiful walk in the park, and we'd have a look at the wildlife. And then we'd come home and we did some online watercolor painting. We did some cooking together. Like you've got 24 hours in every day to fill, and when you can't go anywhere, she's homeschooling, I'm still working, but working from home, we would sit down and look at our day and schedule in when can we do something together. And that really worked for us. So moving into 2022, we've had a big discussion about what things really worked for us, because we like having a stronger bond. And she's 16. She's only going to be with me for a couple more years. So what elements of 2021 are we going to take with us into 2022? And quality time definitely is going to be one of those things. And if we can include healthy habits like exercise, like eating well, why not? So it's been a different year, but it's not been a bad year.
Yeah, I think there are so many things that we have to be grateful for in this past year. And that is one of them, spending more time with our loved ones. I know in the very beginning of 2020, early on in the pandemic, we did a lot of Zoom calls all over the world. We have family everywhere across the country, even in Italy. And it was nice to connect with people that you might not have done so before. It almost felt like you had to do that. You felt like you had to connect with them, and maybe you have never even picked up the phone in a while to speak with them, but to get on those Zoom calls and actually see people. And in the beginning, it was nice to just chill. And my husband and I were locked in, and we did the Netflix thing like everybody else did. Got old after a while, but in the beginning it was kind of nice not to have to worry about anything or feel guilty about not doing things. So I appreciated all of that time that we got to spend together. And the same as you, we would take daily walks. I would meet my sisters and go for walks and have conversations that we might not have had before, just to be outside and enjoy the weather, really appreciate the things that we took for granted before, all of the things that we really, truly did appreciate.
The wonders of a slower paced life. Like we generally live in such a fast-paced world, that just to have that moment to connect with people, to connect with yourself, it's just magical.
Yeah.
But I also hear you with the international Zoom calls. With my family, we started a tri-nation backgammon tournament where we would be on Zoom, but we're all playing backgammon on our phone. And I have connected more with my overseas relatives in the last 2 years than I probably have in my entire life. So it's been really, really lovely.
It's so wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess when we're looking at lifestyle habits, so we've mentioned gratitude as being something that's really beneficial for women going through the change to help them move from a place of anxiety into more joy, to help bring their happy back.
Yes.
What other, would you call them, lifestyle habits or tips do you have for a transitioning woman?
For myself, and I like to share with women, different things that we can do to bring joy, not only to ourselves, but to other people. We can volunteer. Many of us, especially post-menopausal women, may be at a point in their life where they may be considering retiring, or they're just not as busy in the workplace as they were at one time. So maybe they have more time to give, more time to volunteer, or maybe time to take up some creativity, such as what you're doing, which I want to do, is watercolor. I really, truly want to do that. I've bought all my stuff. I just haven't started yet. But really,
maybe you need a class. That way you have a date and a time, and you're going to do it.
I am. And I tell everybody that all the time. Put yourself on the calendar and keep the appointment. So I do want to do that. But taking up hobbies that you might not have had time for before: singing, dancing, book clubs, different clubs like walking, running, women's groups, just getting together. It's so wonderful to just connect with women. It could be so much more beneficial for our health than any healthcare practitioner could be. Just getting together with a group of women and be able to share and talk. I know for myself, when I do have groups of women doing some kind of a health group for menopause, I feel like they get so much more from each other than if it was just even a one-on-one coaching situation, because they'd like to feel that they are part of something, that they're not experiencing this by themselves. There are other people going through the same thing, and that they can share how they've dealt with things, how to overcome, and just not to feel alone in what they're going through. So different things that women can do as they get older, and just participate in different kinds of support groups.
Yes. And the other thing that I wanted to add to that, you mentioned women's group and women's getting together, but I find, well, maybe not the last 2 years, but previously and hopefully moving forward, women's holidays, where it's nice to holiday with the family and whatnot, but it's a different holiday. It's a different trip, a different experience when women actually go away together. And when you leave the home and you leave those home habits and go on a holiday and just connect with the female side, female energy, female companionship, friendship. That
it is wonderful. And I was able to do that on the summit that I went to. I went with a girlfriend. We call ourselves business BFFs. And we do these trips, even though it incorporates a little bit of business, we set aside time to do things like we went to Sedona last time, which was beautiful. We were just in Arizona again, and we spent our last day at the spa. So yes, connecting on those girlfriend trips is so important.
Oh, the spa. I don't remember the last time I went to a spa. That's definitely going on my to-do list.
That was the first time in 2 years. So.
That and travel. I love volunteering. For me, when I think about my life, there's two things that I'm really, really proud of. And the first being my daughter, and the second being the work that I've done with Hands Across the Water. So Hands Across the Water is an Australian charity that helps orphanages in Asia. And twice I've had the opportunity to go over. I've cycled my bike over 500 Ks in Thailand, in the heat, in the humidity, and everything else, to raise money. And we've raised millions of dollars for these orphanages. But what we do is when we get to the orphanage, we put something in place that's going to make them more sustainable. So they're not always looking for funds. So we've built veggie patches, we've built frog ponds, fish ponds, all sorts of things. And the kids themselves will make things to sell at the market. So they'll make jewelry and bags and bits and pieces. But it's just so fulfilling. And if you haven't done any kind of charity work or volunteer work, it doesn't need to be overseas. It could be as simple as volunteering at your local school. Maybe it's, doing a reading program with the local primary school, or an ethics or a religious class for a high school. There are so many ways that you can contribute. And many women say
senior living facilities, and just meeting. And I've done that a few times, and oh my gosh, just some of the stories that you hear, sit and have lunch with one of the elderly people there, and to hear their life stories. So
brainstorm.
Wonderful.
That's where you can do your watercolors. Because they do many activities like that in homes.
Yeah,
find out what day they do their watercolors. They can teach you.
Oh, I thought you wanted me to teach them.
No, they can teach you. It's just an idea. But there is so, a lot of women feel invisible at this time of life. And I find by contributing in society, you feel more visible. And for me, that's been one of my greatest joys. Yeah. And if you've never done it, never considered it, then I think you should.
That's wonderful. I know I've done the PTA thing. Yep. I don't know what they call it in Australia, but I was, the entire time my kids were in school, I was part of the PTA president, full-time school volunteer, loved it. We had so many programs, wonderful programs. And then I moved on to the Catholic parish outreach here, where they helped with the food pantry and clothing. And I would do that every week and help the people as they came in for that. And now I find that I'm finding a lot of my time that I'm volunteering in the support group that I have for women who may not be able to afford a program or coaching, or even to go to a doctor on a regular basis. And so within the support group, I can find that I can help the women in there kind of navigate these years and give them suggestions and resources. And that's been so fulfilling for me for the past 2 years to be able to do that.
Wonderful. So that really is something that those women will cherish, that you've taken the time to actually spend it with them. That's wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I feel, I think it makes a difference in so many women's lives. And you really, and I'm sure you hear it all the time too, that there's certain women that have debilitating symptoms that they just really don't know where to start, don't know where to turn to. And they may not be getting the help that they need from their healthcare practitioner. I don't know how it is in Australia, but here women are often dismissed or told to basically suck it up. This is what happens. And it's unfortunate. Of course, there are wonderful doctors too, and I encourage women to seek out one of them, especially functional medicine doctors. But I think that having an option for these women is so beneficial.
Definitely.
And I've heard you talk about that too, to look for a naturopath or a holistic practitioner can be so helpful. There's
different strokes for different folks. Mm-hmm. And I think that at this stage of life, you really should choose what you want. If you want to go down the medical route, or you need to go down the medical route, there's no problems with that. But I'm a naturopath, so I talk about that kind of medicine. And my passion really is nutrition and herbal medicine and some of these lifestyle changes, because a lot of these can be used on their own, or they can be combined with conventional medicine. Lifestyle habits can only improve your health. So let's get back to that. So we've spoke about gratitude. We spoke about volunteering. What would be your third thing that women could consider adding to their year next year?
Well, I would say a few steps. Movement is a big one. And especially if women have not been moving, especially over the past 2 years, if you have been housebound or you find that you can't get out to that exercise class, there's always the online route. But I think movement is so beneficial for everything in our health, and especially during menopause, for our anxiety, our weight gain, all the symptoms that we're having, to really pay attention to movement. And as something as simple as yoga or Pilates, Tai Chi. And I don't know if you talk about this, but moderate exercise is best for perimenopause and menopausal women, because extreme exercise actually raises the cortisol levels and can actually work in the reverse of what women may want, might increase hot flashes and anxiety and the weight gain. So really moderate, simple things that we can do to negate the anxiety, boost metabolism, and really just feel good in our skin. So I would say movement is probably number one. Finding a passion. I think our life needs passion, and whatever that is, if it's volunteering, if it's spending time with the grandkids, if it's traveling, if it's painting, singing, whatever it is, really just concentrate on your passion and make it happen. Don't wait. There's a saying that I like to say, that take the time, for there will come a time when there is no more time. So really take that bit of advice. I take it myself all the time. Like I said, FOMO, fear of missing out. So I really want to do it all. And so I like to be consistent about that.
Yeah. Yeah. I often find that a lot of women's younger hobbies, so things that they might have done as a child or as a teenager, but they've run out of time for, or life's just got too busy and it's fallen apart, like they've just stopped doing it, that now's a really good time to go, hold on, what did I really like? Did I really love drawing and arts as a child? Did I like craft? Did I like exercise? Maybe I used to play like tennis or water polo or some sort of team sports, where maybe that's something I want to get back involved with. I know for myself with movement, really this year's just been walking, and we've got some bands and kettlebells at home, bits of that. But prior to that, I used to do a lot of salsa dancing. So I would go to a lesson once a week, and then once a month I'd go to a social. And I really miss that because it was A, so much fun to do, but B, it was my exercise. So I totally hear you. It's my joy, but it's also exercise.
So it will happen again.
Yes. I can't wait. Yeah.
Do you have pickleball in Australia?
It's here. It's relatively new. I have heard of pickleball through a patient who does it and absolutely loves it, but I've never played it myself.
I started with my sister. We kind of stopped, but we never really played the game. We just kind of hit it back and forth to each other and laughed and chased the damn ball more than anything else. But it is fun. And I think so many seniors are getting into it, I guess, because it's a little bit easier than maybe the tennis and, but I think it's a lot of fun. And I think that's one of the things that I look forward to trying.
Awesome.
Getting back into.
My main takeaway from today was I wanted to really chat about, even though it's been a challenging couple of years, there has still been a lot of joy. There's still been a lot of fun. But now hopefully we take the best of that and add our freedom and add a new year, new opportunity, and would not get straight back into fast-paced living, but to have a bit of both.
Appreciate the things that we took for granted before and maybe keep those incorporated in our lives, the connections that we've made and the time that we spend with family and friends. To me, that's the top of the list, really, because everything else just really revolves around that.
Yeah. So my favorite quote from the book, "Nothing tastes as good as healthy feels." I love that. So I just wanted to come back to the book for a moment, just to let the listeners know your book's not just about lifestyle. Although, like I said, there are these exercises scattered throughout the book to make you think about your own personal experience. There is also information about diet, supplements, some of those kind of things. And yeah, that was my favorite quote. I think it is just so meaningful.
Yeah. It's true. And I know it's very hard. I mean, it's hard for me. We crave certain things and sometimes we don't want to give them up. And I've been there, but I also know how good it feels when I really stick to the plan. And I am not a calorie counter. I'm not sure how you do it. I am a crap counter. So
I've never heard it put that way, but I like it.
Yeah. I want to keep all the bad stuff out and just eat the good stuff without being so stringent and so, I don't know, just without keeping, I don't know what the term is that I want to use, but I want to enjoy my life. I want to enjoy what I'm eating. So I don't want to restrict everything to a point where that's all you think about. So I just want to, in the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, we called it crowding out. We really want to pay attention to putting all the good stuff on our plates, and eventually you won't crave the other stuff. Sometimes women find it hard to believe that they won't crave sugar after a while, but when we start cutting it out of our diets, you really don't crave it anymore. So just being able to eat the more good stuff, crowd out all those processed foods and sugars, and concentrate on the good.
I agree. I second that totally. The really, it's just the first little bit that is the hardest. But really, if you're not depriving yourself, you're just saying, I'm going to focus on more vegetables, more salad, more good quality protein, more good fats.
And pretty soon you're sleeping better. You feel better. Those aches and pains are gone. Your hair is better. You have more energy. When you cheat,
you don't feel so good. So you don't want to feel like that anymore. So you want to go back to how you were feeling. Yes. So Lorraine, would you like to tell the listeners a little bit more about yourself and how they can find you and find your book and work with you if they'd like to?
Yeah, sure. Well, my website is themagicofmenopause.com. And on there, I have resources for women from a symptoms tab where you can click on a symptom you're having. And then I have all kinds of resources, whether they're products or blogs, articles, different things that could help. My blog is on there. I have a newsletter, and I'm on Instagram at the Magic of Menopause. Facebook is Making Menopause Magical. And you can always hit me up with an email. I love getting email, Lorraine at themagicofmenopause.com. And I would just love to hear about what you're going through in your life and if there's any way I can help.
Fabulous. Well, I'll make sure that I add all those links to the show notes. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me. I truly appreciate it. And I hope you can get out in the world soon.
Well, we're recording this in November. By December, I will be out there. You can't stop me.
Yes.
So Happy New Year, everyone. I hope that 2022 is a very magical year for you. Bye for now.
Happy New Year.
Thank you for listening to Menopause Natural Solutions. This podcast contains general information about menopause. It is provided as a guide, and it is not intended to replace medical advice. Opinions of guests are their own, and this podcast does not endorse or accept responsibility for statements made by guests. If you have enjoyed today's episode, please share it with a friend.